Did you know that the Budweiser beer you probably know about, the American version, got its name and its style from a Czech beer also called Budweiser? Yep, there are two Budweiser beers in the world, one from the United States and one from the Czech Republic. Actually, there used to be more than two, but we'll get to that in a minute. Here's the history behind how Budweiser beer got its name. The name Budweiser is German, and it basically means of Budweis, or from the city of Budweis. And they've been making beer in the city of Budweis, which is now a city by a different name in the Czech Republic that I can't pronounce, since the city was founded in 1245 when the King of Bohemia, Ottokar II, granted the city brewing rights. And at one point it became the imperial brewery of the Holy Roman Empire. Remember that because we'll come back to it later. During the time when both Czech and German were official languages in the Kingdom of Bohemia, two breweries were founded in the city of Budweis, and both breweries made beer which they called Budweiser, similar to the way beer from the city of Pilsen is generally called Pilsner. Again, Budweiser beer simply means beer from Budweis in German. And now let's talk about the two breweries in Budweis that have something to do with the American version of Budweiser. The Budweiser Budvar Brewery is a state-owned brewery founded in 1795 by Czech-speaking citizens of Budweis and directly continued the tradition of beer brewing in Budweis that dates back to the city's founding all the way back in the 13th century. A separate brewery, Budweiser Bürgerbrau, was also founded in 1795 by the city's German-speaking residents and started brewing Budweiser beer in 1802. And these breweries in Budweis began exporting their beer to the United States starting in 1872 or 1873. And that's when, just a short time after that, in 1876, the American brewer Anheuser-Busch began making a beer which they also called Budweiser, motivated in part by a desire to brew a beer similar in quality, color, flavor, and taste to the beer then made in Budweis. According to Adolphus Busch, a German immigrant to the United States and one of the founders of Anheuser-Busch, who created the American version of Budweiser with his friend Carl Conrad. Just before Anheuser-Busch began brewing their own Budweiser beer in St. Louis, Missouri, Adolphus Busch took a trip to Europe where he noticed Budweiser beer from the Budweiser Bürgerbrau brewery being served all around Europe on numerous occasions, which was another reason he decided to name his own beer Budweiser and brew it according to the Bohemian process. So having seen Budweiser both imported to the United States from Budweis and all over Europe, he must have decided that he really liked the name. And it was clearly a good decision, as we all still know that name to this day. I guess St. Louiser or Missourier just didn't sound as good or as mysteriously German. And here's another thing. The Budweiser from Budweis has been called the Beer of Kings since the 1500s. And that's where Adolphus Busch got the slogan, the King of Beers. So the Czech version was called the Beer of Kings, and now the American version is called the King of Beers. Now, this history hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows. There's been an ongoing Budweiser trademark dispute since 1907 between the two beer companies from the Czech Republic and the United States who claim trademark and geographic origin rights to the name Budweiser, and this dispute has involved more than 100 court cases around the world. As a result of these disputes, Budweiser Budvar, the Czech brewery, has the rights to the name Budweiser in most of Europe, and Anheuser-Busch InBev has those rights in North America. And that means that the American Budweiser beer is called Bud in most of Europe, so it's not sold as Budweiser, it's sold as Bud in most of Europe, while Budweiser Budvar beer from the Czech Republic is called Czechvar in North America instead of Budweiser. In some countries, both the Budvar and Anheuser-Busch lagers are available under the Budweiser name. So if you're in the United States and you want to try the Czech version of Budweiser, which some might say is the original version, then grab yourself a bottle of Czechvar. And if you're in Europe and you're craving the American brew, look for a bottle of Bud. Otherwise, you might end up with the delicious Budweiser Budvar beer instead. And hey, that's not the worst thing that could happen. By the way, in case you were wondering, the other Czech brewery in Budweis, called Budweiser Burgerbrau, was actually acquired by Anheuser-Busch InBev in 2014 to strengthen its claim on the Budweiser trademark. And now you know how Budweiser beer got its name. Refreshing, isn't it? And what's in a name anyway? A beer by any other name would still be just as delicious. Or would it?